And this is by your request. I think that from the last training session, many participants request to have another training session on the menu planning. So we are here to organize this with you. So we get the acceptance from the specialist from the Simeo Regional Center for Food and Nutrition. She is specialized in the menu planning. So I hope that you will enjoy the session today. But before I start the session, I would like to know how much energy you have today. If I put the most energy about 100, how much you have today. So for me, since this is in the afternoon and a little bit sleepy, but after I talk a little bit, I'm alerted now. So my energy today about 95%. So let me know how much energy you have today, everyone. You can type in the chat box. Wow. From Philippines, 100 alerted and awake. Thank you. And from Malaysia, 70. How about, I would like to know anyone from Indonesia, how much energy you have today? From Nurul, Indonesia, I guess 60%. Wow, anyway, that is very positive. At least you are more than 50%. That's fine. Oh, sorry, Nurul from Brunei Darussalam. All right, okay, Nurul. Nice to see you here today. Yeah, we had a meeting with you on Monday. All right, I want to see the other participant, anyone from Indonesia, because we have a guest speaker today from Indonesia. Anyone more? Oh, from the Philippines, from PES school, 80%, thank you. Okay, any participant from Thailand? Now we have about 30 participants. Before we start the session, I would like to wait more participants a little bit, few minutes. Anyway, so, okay, so, all right, okay. So I hope that you can access my, the training materials that I shared to you, right, in your email. And also you can review the previous session by YouTube, which I already sent the link to you. So I hope that everybody received the complete document from me, right? Okay, thank you very much for Mr. Muhammad, 51%. Thank you for another 1%, right? Okay, so we gonna start the session with the sequence a little bit. Next slide, please. Okay, so as you know that we have been, conduct the training for 3 sessions, and this is the last session that requested by the participants, and the sequence of today will be, next slide. Okay, so after my introduction a bit, waiting for your colleagues to be joining us, then we will have like 2 questions for warm-up activity. And then I will introduce you to Miss Sari Kusuma, who's gonna be the guest speaker today. And then after her presentation, you have time to ask questions to her or share your experiences or share your problem at the school so that she can answer and help you to identify the solutions. And then we will have the photo session and then end the session by the post-training evaluation and attendance check. So I hope that by 4:15 we can end the session. All right, now I think that now we have about 35 participants joining with us, and mostly from the Philippines and Brunei Darussalam, Malaysia, and also some of them from the Indonesia. All right, okay, so for the next part, may I request you to be ready with your mobile phone. Warm-up activity again. Okay, so be ready with your mobile phone to scan the QR code on the screen. The first question. Okay, does your school currently implement a school meal program? Yes or no? 2, answer yes. All right, for some participants who cannot scan QR code, you can type in the chat box yes or no. So only 2 or 3 now. I understand that some school you may not have like lunch program provide to the student, but you you have like uh, food store or the seller from outside come to sell food to your student. And some school they request the parents to prepare lunch for the student. So our speaker would like to know that um, you provide lunch for your students or not? Okay, 11 answer. And for the participant who don't have mobile phone to scan the QR code, you can click on the link in the chat box. Any more? Any more? Any more want to know about this? Okay, now 13 from 41 participants. Anyone else want to answer this? All right. So I guess that every school who join us, you provide a school meal program to your students, correct? Right. Okay. So that is my one school say no. All right. May you please type in the chat box the person who say no here, meaning that you don't provide school meal program, right, to your student. All right. Okay. Now, mostly, I think that majority of the school participating with us, you provide school lunch to your or meal to your student, right? Okay, may I go to the next question? So for the school, our speaker would like to know that who cooked for your student meal for eating at the school time. So who cook it? Question number one, parents. Question number two, food stalls in your school, outside the school, sorry. And number three, school canteen. Number four, school staff. And number five, the school outsource cooking to the third party, meaning that you hire someone to cook in your school. So mostly the school canteen provide meal to the student. And some school answer that the parents bring food or prepare food for the students. Okay, so I guess that the majority of the participating school today answer that most of the meal of the student prepared by the school canteen. Any answer, other answer? All right, okay, school canteen, still school canteen is the most. Any other want to answer? You can click in the some people answer here from the Brunei Darussalam. My school both from home and school canteen. Yes. Okay. Both number from home parents and the school canteen number 3. All right. Okay, so I think that a majority of the participants already answered this one. So, anyone want to still want to share the answer? Okay, if there is none, may I move to the next part? So, for the next part, I would like to invite Miss Sari Kusuma, who is the specialist in the nutrition, and she is the manager of the laboratory and the consultancy unit under the Simeo Regional Center for Food and Nutrition based in Indonesia. And Miss Sari, so I call her in short Sari, are you ready? So you can, may I invite you on the stage, please? Miss Sari, the floor is yours. Okay, we will so I will let you to share the screen so that your presentation can be shared on the screen.
Yeah, thank you so much, Miss Piapa. So, okay. Okay, so very good afternoon, everyone. So just to check first, am I clear? My voice is clear?
Yeah, you need to speak a little bit louder, a bit louder.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Oh, it's better now. Yep.
yeah.
Thank you.
Uh, so good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Sari Kusuma. My background is in nutrition, and I'm currently having a project as well in developing school meal uh, menu recommendation for the Ministry of Health Indonesia with a team from Simurek Fund. So I would like to share. Actually, this is a time for me to share and also uh, the experience and also tips and tricks on how school meal menu is planned and implement in school. So thank you for Miss Piapa for giving me opportunity to give a session. So in this session, I would like to explore or share about the how to manage the school meal menu planning and also improving the menu planning. Actually, I read some of the summary of your proposal um, about the school meal program that you are going to implement. So I hope this information can help and improve what you are going to implement. So why do we need school meals? So this is very basic question and also to help us have the same vision about the importance of school meals that actually school meals help us the school community, especially the student, to have better nutrition. And when they have better nutrition, they have better health. And when they have better health, they will seek leave from school less, and then they will concentrate more in the class, and then they will have better learning performance. And once the school meals program is implemented, we also hope that their behavior is also uh, become better.
Excuse me,
And
Miss Sari,
yeah,
would you mind to speak a little bit louder? Louder, a bit louder. Yeah.
uh,
I think your voice is a little bit
it
too soft. Too soft. Okay.
is it okay now?
Yeah, is it okay now? Yeah.
Okay,
Please
I'm
go.
sorry for that. So now before we are going to how to develop school meal program, I would like to share about two experiences about school meal programs that was um, supervised or helped by Simurek Fund. So in 2017 to 2018, Simurek Fund helped Ministry of Education of Indonesia in collaboration with other multiple stakeholders to implement school meal programs. It is targeted for those in the children in primary school located in remote frontier and outmost area of Indonesia. So it is located in Papua and then in Maluku, also Nusa Tenggara Timur. So for those who doesn't know, it is like the eastern part of Indonesia that may be less developed than the western part of Indonesia. And then the main component of the school meal programs, it is not only about the meals, but also aided with nutrition education and character buildings. Character buildings was about um, uh, thankful to God before eating, and then wash hand before and after eating, and then uh, thank the one who cooks for the meals. That's the one the example. And then the result is the nutrition consumption on food consumption and the diversity of meals that they consume is improved, and also the knowledge on nutrition improve, and it leads to attend more days in the school and also better academic performance. But because this program was delivered from um, the central ministry to the district education office in the remote area, so I think the problem was how to sustain this program. But then there is also another example in one of the schools in Yogyakarta, the center of Java Island in Indonesia. One of the school implement their own school meal program. They give lunch for all children and then as well as the teacher. And fortunately, they can hire their own nurse and also kitchen staff. And the added value as well, the parents involve heavily on how the meals is given to the children and how the acceptance of the menu for their children, and whether uh, the nurse and the teachers also involve the parents to inform the school whether the student have allergy or difficulty to eat certain foods. So they will compile and uh, get those kind of information to strengthen the program in a school. And this school also able to utilize government programs very well. For example, in the district health office, there is a program that district health office can provide nutritional status assessment for the children every year in the beginning of academic year. So they really ask the district health office to implement those programs in their school. And then character building and also nutrition education also part of the program. So when we uh, saw these two experiences, actually all every program has their own ups and down challenges, but there are also positive parts, and this positive parts is not only about school meal but also the nutrition education and character building. Now we talk about food service management system in school. Uh, so when we talk about management system, every management system, we start from planning, implementing, and also monitoring and evaluation. Because this is in the food service, so it will consist of planning, preparing, and serving the school meals safely and efficiently. So there are four principles that should be implemented when we do food service management. The first one, food safety. I believe that it's already uh, shared by previous speakers. And then meal planning, which is the one that we are uh, going to learn together. And then cost effectiveness and sustainability. I think the fourth one also already explained by the previous speakers. So this is a bit many uh, thing to read, but this is uh, components that should be fulfilled actually when we implement food service management system. from the planning, from the beginning, there should be facilities, infrastructure, and also equipment, utensils for cooking or the eating, and also the menu as well as the budget. But those facilities will not going to work when the organization is not strong enough to implement and to have a strong commitment to achieve the goal. So there should be organizational structure and then staff to do certain roles. So the roles and the positions should be clear. And then how are the school meal program are going to be implemented. So the direction, coordination, there should be established. Once this planning and organization part is established, then we should implement the school meal program. There are 6 points that should be highlighted during the implementation. The first one, the uh, procurement of the food, whether you buy the raw food and then cook it, or you buy ready to eat foods. So it depends. And then there is reception and distribution of the foods. And then there is also part of storage management because it may not be readily served to the children. And then there is also part of the preparation and cooking. Once the food is uh, cooked, then you should distribute and serve the food to the children. And then the last part, the important one, when we do mass food service uh, management system, is the hygiene and sanitation. And then once the school meals is implemented, then there should be monitoring and quality control because we deal with foods that easily uh, going bad, and then we deal with people, the children. So there should be, oh, I'm sorry, I think it's not clear yet. So the monitoring should be done, and then the evaluation should be done. But before that, these 6 uh, points in the implementation should have each quality control. Okay, then we are now in the school meal. This is the one that you uh, are focusing on. So in the school meal, there should be at least 3 components to have a balanced nutrition meal. So maybe you already learned this in the first um, part of the training in 2024. The first one should be foods that provide energy. For example, staple foods. It can be rice, bread, potato, noodles, anything else. And then foods that uh, improve the growth of the children, which is food high in protein, such as it can be chicken, fish, egg, tofu, anything else. And then the last one, this is the one that usually a bit problem with the younger children. Foods that provide a protective or immune for the body, or something that makes us less frequently sick. So vegetable, fruit, the one that provide vitamin and minerals. And we also have to note that currently the government, every government in the world, uh, emphasize that we have to eat less salt, sugar, and oil. And then uh this is one approach that um might be the easiest for you who doesn't have nutrition background but need to implement this school meal planning uh, skills immediately. So the first we will use food exchange list. So what is it? So we will learn later on. So these tools will help us to estimate energy, carbohydrate, protein, fats that needs to be consumed or eaten by the children quickly. And then this food exchange list also help for us to uh, mapping or develop the meal plan. This meal plan later on will help you to uh, buy the foods or ingredient more efficiently, so it will lead to less food waste and also uh, the food will be more nutrient dense and also will be accepted by the children. So there are 7 steps to uh, come up with the meal plan. The first one, we have to identify which children are we going to give the meal. So in this case, the children will be the primary school children, which is around maybe 7 to 12, 13 years old. And then the second one, we have to identify how much nutrition will be adequate for them, for those children. And then the third one, how many, how much energy required. And then from those energy, we will need to calculate how much protein, carbohydrate, and fat that later on should be given for the children during the school meal program. And then we will also determine the number of serving using this tool, the food exchange list, and then distribute exchange and food items in each meal in one menu cycle. And then the last one, creating the menu. Okay, there are many technical terms in here, but we will go through one by one in the next slides. So the first and second step, we identify who our target who will receive the food in the school. So we already identify children 7 to 12 to 13 years old. So each country in the world has their own recommended nutrient intake. So this recommended nutrient intake or RNI should be used as a reference to calculate how much energy or protein, fat, carbohydrate that they actually need. Okay, so this is the example for Indonesia, but in the whole world, uh, FAO and WHO actually release one harmonized uh, numbers or formula to determine the nutrition adequacy of the children. So the number of nutrition needed of each children will be different based on their age, based on their gender. And then this will also lead different uh, this leads to different portion when later on the school need to give the children food in the school. And then the third and fourth step from this one, we maybe we can use Indonesia as the example. For this one, children age 7 to 9 years old need 650 kilocalorie energy in one day, but it increase as they are older. And then for the protein, they need 50 gram of protein per day, and then uh 40. And then for the fat, they need 55 fat per day. Then you have to know that because the recommendation is for one day, we need to distribute those energy in each uh, meal time. So we have breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacking 2 times a day. For breakfast, it's usually 20 to 25% of those energy. Lunch, about 30 to 35% of those energy. Dinner, 20 to 25% of those energy. Okay. And then in one day, um, for those from those energy requirement or energy distribution, because it is only from the total energy, you need to identify how much protein, fat, carbohydrate in gram that needs to be consumed by the children. But how to calculate? So the protein, we usually calculate from the protein first and then fat, and then the last one, the remaining percentage will be for the carbohydrate. So the for protein, it will need 10 to 50% of the total energy for example, lunch. And then fat only 15 to 30% from the energy for lunch. The carbohydrate is around 55 to 75% from the energy during lunch, for example. And then you will get a number. Those number are in kilocalorie that needs to be converted into grams. But the conversion factor is different between protein, fat, and carbohydrate. So protein and carbohydrate is the same. 4 kilocalorie equal to 1 gram protein or carbohydrate, but for fat, 9 kilocalorie equal to 1 gram of fat. So because it is very technical, I want you to um, calculate first, and then you can type the your answer in the chat box. How many calories, protein, fat, and carbohydrate? So there should be four answers that should be consumed by the children aged 7 to 9 years old during lunchtime. So for the lunchtime, in this exercise, you can use 35% of RNI or the recommended nutrient, and then 50% of protein, 25% of fat, and 60% of carbohydrate. So I need you to calculate the number in kilocalorie and grams. So for those who are not yet understand, you can ask in the chat box as well. So maybe I can give you.
Oh, this is very difficult question. So, okay, for this point, any participant want to ask the question to Miss Sari? You can unmute yourself, while we are trying to calculate the calories intake.
Sure.
Okay, so if you are, so Miss Sari, you want our participant to do the calculation, is that right?
Yes. So the number of calorie, 1 day calorie is 1,650.
Hmm.
Yeah, for to be used in this calculation. Yeah, this is very technical, and later on, at the end of the presentation, I have tips and tricks maybe on how to integrate this information in your school meal program. So
Okay.
don't worry.
Yep. All right. Okay. Maybe you can go on for your presentation. Thank you. All right. I think that your voice a little bit dropped, so maybe you can use.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, that is better now. All right. Okay. So go on, please.
Oh, wait. I need to unhide first the answer. Okay. So the answer will be like this. Okay. So don't worry. You don't need to uh worry about how to calculate it, but uh I want you to understand this is uh meal. This is how school meal usually develop. Uh, so because you are already know this is already step 3 and 4, so we need to answer step 1 and 2 first. Step 1, identify the target group or who are we going to give food. So the answer will be 7 to 9 years old children. Okay. And then the second steps, you need to identify how many nutrition uh, adequate for their body in 1 day. So the answer, this is from Indonesia, 1,650 kilocalorie per day. And to answer the step 3, we need to know the distribution, or if we want to give the children um, lunch in the school meal programs or maybe breakfast in the school meal programs, then the percentage of this uh, allocation or distribution will be different, right? This is the key information. Actually, this percentage will very influence on how much money will you spend in procuring the food for the children, right? Because if it is breakfast, so it will be less food, but if it is for lunch, so it will be more food. And then because this is for lunch, then 35% times 1,650 kilocalorie per day. So it means for lunch, the children need to eat 577 calorie, kilocalorie. This information should be convert into gram protein, gram fat, and gram carbohydrate. right? Because we choose 15% for protein, 25% for fat, and 60% of carbohydrate, then we multiply with the kilocalorie for lunch, this one, 577, and then we got the number for protein, it is 85.6, fat 144.3, carbohydrate 346.2, and then each of these calorie need to be converted using this information in the top right. So during lunch for these children, we need to give them 21.6 gram of protein, 16 gram of fat, and 86 gram carbohydrate. Okay, next. This is the reminder for all of you that actually uh, this information like protein, fat, carbohydrate needs to be translated into this plate. So the one that I found in the internet uh, from the Ministry of Health of each countries is from Malaysia. This is Malaysian Healthy Plate. And then for Brunei Darussalam, this is the hidangan sihat Auda. And then for the Indonesian, this is isi piringku. And then for uh, the Philippines, this is pinggang Pinoy. So if you look at each of the plate and then the divide how they divide the plate, each plate is different because the Ministry of Health already calculate how much my population, my people needs to eat certain food. So basically, every country mention about the staple food, animal protein, vegetable, and then uh, fruits and water. But maybe the amount, the recommended amount is different. So don't forget about this. I'm sorry I cannot find the one from Cambodia and Thailand. So maybe if you uh, you know the information, uh, you can share it here. And then you don't need to know or remember this number. I just want to explain what is it. So this is the food exchange list. Tools that you need to use to transform this information like protein, fat, carbohydrate into this plate. And what are foods to be there in your plate? So each country, again, each country has their own um, uh, recommendation. Basically, it is the same, but the number and then the conversion and the detail might be different. So, for example, for staple food or source of carbohydrate, 1 gram equal to 155 calorie, 4 grams of protein, and 40 grams of carbohydrate. While for the animal protein, 1 piece of uh, animal protein weighing for uh, weighing for 40 gram is 50 calorie, 7 gram of protein, and 22 grams of fat. This is the example of Indonesia, but I will give you all the whole uh, information uh, through Miss Piapa. And this is the example from Thailand. So we can see here the carbohydrate groups. they separate the starch and fruit, and then the gram of carbohydrate will be different from those in Indonesia. You can see here. And then they also have like meat, fat. So actually the list of food group might be similar, but the number inside this exchange list might be different. So based on those three information, we need to go through the step 5, which is to determine number of serving by using exchange list. So again, this is very technical. So actually you need to add how many portion or exchange of each staple food, vegetable, protein, sugar, oil into this to fulfill again this one, the one that you already calculated for the children's lunch menu. Okay, this is the example on how the number of portion or exchange need to be fulfilled. This is for one day because you can see here the total calorie for energy is 1700. So this is for one day. This is carbohydrate, protein, and fat. And then after we get this, um, we need to distribute the exchange and food list into one menu cycle. So um, you don't have to worry about the distribution in here, but I want to talk about the cycle. Menu cycles is when you um, plan a menu for for day one, day two, day three, and until the last day. But the last day can be like the menu can be for 7 days in one cycle, or it can be for 20 days. We assume that in 1 month the school will be only for 20 days, and then uh, the 21st day of school will be back for the first menu. This is the example. Sorry, it is in Bahasa. So basically, this is the food list, the staple food, protein, vegetable, fruit, and then this is menu 1 to 20 because they want um, in one cycle consists of 20 days of school days, and then this is menu day 1, day 2, and until day 20, and then day 21 the menu will be again going back to this menu 1. So you don't have to uh, confuse or have mm difficulty to, so tomorrow what should I cook for the children. So it's actually help you to plan beforehand to determine which supplier to provide the food ingredients, something like that. And then the last one, creating the menu. This is for the school lunch. This is the number of portion or exchange. This is rice, how many grams, and then fish, how many grams. And this is equal to uh, a third of small tail fish, and then cassava leaves and guava. So actually, all of this menu can be created to creation, but actually the principle is it should um, fulfill the dietary adequacy and then balance. Balance means your guidance is really the my plate, the one that uh, the plate that divided into several food, and then nutrient density. So you have to choose foods that rich of certain nutrient, and then dietary diversity. So it is basically if you follow the plate from each country, so it's already fulfill the diversity of food that needs to be consumed of the children. And again, moderation and the menu, the planning should be achievable and practical. Okay, I think I already uh, have more uh, already 30 minutes, but then I need to share these tips and tricks because it is actually that maybe uh, you have concern with or challenge on about the uh, food procurement. So you can buy the food from the local market and then the farmer because it can be fresh and cheaper. And then once you have like meal planning, the like the ingredient should menu day one should be this, day two should be this. It also help you to allow you to do bulk purchasing. So it will lower the cost. And also you can um, connect with the government or the private sectors to do partnership. And again, this is also managing the budget. Meal planning actually it's very important to support the sustainability, including using local ingredients and then reducing food waste. Because again, when you give the children for breakfast, it should only be around 20 to 25% of their uh, the whole day intake or food that should be consumed. But because you don't know that, you you assume everything the same, that maybe you may buy more than needed. And then who prepares school meals? So actually, this is very um, this is tips to make sure that the school meals program is implemented and sustainable. So at the beginning, the planning uh, there should be schools commitment. One of the example, they make a written commitment in the schools. For example, uh, healthy and nutritious food uh, area only for healthy and nutritious food, something like that. So if you put it uh, in front of the classroom or schools, so everyone will be reminded. And then involvement of the parents and community, and then clear roles and responsibility of uh, kitchen personnel or food service, everyone who in charge in the school meal programs, and then someone who has educational background in nutrition to help you. Because I believe the one that I share to you is really technical mm, uh, and might be difficult for you to do it yourself, but I hope it helps to give you overview on how it will influence the implementation of this program in your school. And then the preparation, it will about the kitchen staff, and then uh, the quality control during the preparation until the cooking. And then for the serving, you can actually involve the students to be part of the meal program. For example, wash their own uh, plate, and then help the teacher to organize the student in their class uh, before or after getting their food. And then there need to be monitoring of the implementation. So these are only example of the question that you can actually ask for your own program. Okay. This is the involvement of parents and community. I think this is already presented enough in the example of the schools in the earlier slide. And then this is the common challenge and how to solve. Maybe later on when you ask, I will answer it. And then the takeaway, school meals really play roles in health and academic performance, also well-being of the children. And also this food service management system help you to make sure that your food, your program is safe and the food is nutritious, but it's also cost effective. And the involvement of the school community is really important from the beginning in the planning process until the evaluation. So do your best. If there is any question, I'm open to that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Sari. So, if our participants want to ask any question, or you can give the case study of the issues at your school, like for example, your student they don't like this menu, or how you want to improve the menu at school, you can unmute yourself, or even like you raise your hand. Okay. Anyone want to raise hand, or even like you can ask the question in Indonesian language to our speakers,
Sure.
or even the Thai participant, you can ask the question in Thai. Okay. Anyone would like to ask the question, you can drop the question in the chat box. All right. I want to hear something from Malaysia. Mr. Chok. Mr. I think that one of the Malaysian participants who join us in nearly every series, every session. Would you like to ask the question to our speaker? You can unmute yourself, sir. Yes, please, Mr. Chok. I know that you are ready to ask the question. You can unmute yourself, or even like the participant from the Philippines. Anyone want to drop the question or concern in the chat box? Now today we have about 47 participants. Anyone want to raise the question or raise the issues? Okay, may I ask any experiences in Malaysia that you encounter the issues of the menu planning? Anyone want to share with us? And how about the Brunei Darussalam? Do you have any issues about the menu planning? Okay, none.
Or maybe can I share an
Yes,
experience
sure.
in Indonesia? So you know that uh, the information that I share really very technical, and then actually um, it is really uh, helpful. And if you want, if the school is proactively approach the university and then the district or nearby health office and
Mm-hmm.
ask them to
Help
help
calculator.
you, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, to help
yeah,
you
that's
to
right.
develop the meal planning, the first meal planning,
Uh-huh.
and then it is really possible for them to do it for you.
Wow,
I
that's
think
good. Thank
I
you
think
so much.
this is it should be without payment
Yep, that's
actually.
good. That's good. So may I ask the participant from the Philippines, how could you do the menu planning? Maybe from Baptist Elementary School. Anyone want to share with us? Okay, you can unmute yourself, please. Okay, how about Thailand? I know that the Aoyama Patrol Border Patrol Police School here. อาจารย์คะอาจารย์ไทยอยากจะแชร์ไหมคะเกี่ยวกับเรื่องการวางแผนเมนูโรงเรียนอันมิวได้เลยนะคะอาจารย์คะ
ยังค่ะอาจารย์
ได้เลยค่ะ you can speak in Thai ค่ะโรงเรียนวางแผนเมนูโรงเรียนยังไงคะไหนเล่าให้ฟังสิ
อ่าการประกอบเลี้ยงในแต่ละวันเนี่ยเราจะดูผักที่เราปลูกอะค่ะเพ
อ๋อ
ราะว่าผักน่ะจะมีการวางแผนการผลิตทุกๆเดือนอยู่แล้วเป็นภาคเรียนนะคะแล้วก็เราก็จะดูว่าอย่างสมมุติว่าสัปดาห์หน้าเนี้ยเราจะมีผักอะไรที่สามารถที่จะนำมาประกอบเลี้ยงได้บ้างอะไรอย่างเงี้ยค่ะอย่างเช่นช่วงนี้ก็จะเป็นกะหล่ำปลีอะไรที่เป็นพวกผักกาดขาวอะไรอย่างเงี้ยค่ะ แล้ว
ค่ะ
ก็ในทุกประมาณสัก1 ถึง 2 เดือนเว้นไปก็จะมีการชำแหละหมูเองอะไรอย่างเงี้ยค่ะเพราะโรงเรียนเลี้ยงหมูค่ะล่าสุดก็ชำแหละไป2 ตัวค่ะก็จะอยู่จนถึงประมาณปิดเทอมเลยอะไรอย่างเงี้ยค่ะ
ค่ะโอเคค่ะ so actually actually, the school have shared the information to us that the school, Aoyama school, they have their own school farm. So they have the vegetable in cycle. Like for example, they will look at the which vegetable is ready to harvest, and they will put in the menu of the school. And then it depends on the available vegetable that growing at that period. And they also have chicken. They also have the animal farm within the school that they can utilize the product from the animal for the food cooking for the students. Okay,
Yeah,
ค่ะ.
or
Thank you very much for sharing ค่ะ. So
yeah.
there is a question from Malaysia here. Our school plans to integrate the local foods in the menu. Do you have any experience or suggestions?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chong. Actually, we have experience in that, but um, we need to agree in one thing first about local foods. So we usually determine local food as locally available food. So it doesn't need to be like indigenous or specific leaves or some things that only in their area, but if it is available nearby the school and then usually eaten by the family, so it is considered as local food. So it is really possible and it might be uh, uh, helping the compliance of the children to eat better. So it can be from the uh, food ingredients or the cooking style. So it depends.
Yeah.
So
All right.
yes, it is very possible. Uh, Nasi or rice uh, can be adjusted, not only plain rice, it can be anything uh, that usually eat in the local in your local area.
Okay, thank you. And may I know the popular menu from each country? For Thailand ค่ะthe Aoyama ค่ะอาหารอะไรที่นักเรียนชอบมากเลยของโรงเรียน What is the favorite menu of your students บอกชื่อมาเลยว่าอาหารอะไร เช่นข้าวมันไก่ก๋วยเตี๋ยวหรือว่าอะไร
ส่วนใหญ่ที่ถ้าเป็นผลผลิตของโรงเรียนก็จะเป็นไข่พะโล้อะไรอย่างเงี้ยค่ะแล้วก็พวกผัดกะหล่ำใส่เนื้อหมู
เป็นอะไรนะคะ
ใส่ไข่พะโล้ค่ะอ่ะ
Oh, okay. All right. The favorite menu of the Thai student is the egg. Whatever eat,
Egg.
like they boil egg with the stew, like the soup, brown soup. And another one is the cabbage stir fry with pork or chicken. Cabbage stir fry, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe if I may add, the cabbage can be cabbage is white leaves, right?
Yes.
So because student needs nutrient dense like food high in nutrients, so you can change it with the green leaf.
Okay, so I will let them know so อาจารย์ขาเขาแนะนำค่ะว่าเนื่องจากว่ากะหล่ำปลีมันสีขาวเพราะฉะนั้นแนะนำว่าให้ใช้ผักสีเขียวทำอาหารเช่นคะน้า Chinese cabbage ใช่ไหมคะที่มันมีสีเขียวแล้วมันได้ธาตุเหล็กอย่างอื่นด้วยค่ะโอเคค่ะ thank you ค่ะ anyone
ขอบคุ
want
ณ
to
ค่ะ
share the favorite menu of your students in your school how about the Philippines or even like Indonesia You can unmute yourself. Thank you very much ค่ะอาจารย์ค่ะ Anyone want to share any favorite menu? How about the Philippines? What is the favorite menu of your student? You can unmute yourself. How about chicken harness on rice? I think this is the common popular menu of the student around Southeast Asian countries. You know this one, right? Chicken harness on rice. Yeah, with the very tasty sauce and the soup, the clear soup. So this is another popular menu. Okay. So if you have any question, you can drop the question here. I think it's about the time for us. And I would like to request our participants to give a virtual approach to our speaker. And thank you very much, Ms. Sari Kusuma, for your expertise sharing to our participants. So I think that I have shared your presentation file to our participants if they have any further questions. So they can drop the question in the post-training evaluation form. All right, everyone. So before we finish the session, may I request everybody to open the camera for the photo session. Thank you very much. Okay, open the camera, please. Ooh, when I ask you to ask the question, no one answer me. But when I ask to open the camera for photo session, everybody very active. Thank you so much. All right, I know that you are listening to me. So anyway, so all right, okay. I will take the photo for 2 shots. The first shot. Okay, our technical team ready? 1, 2, okay, keep smiling. 1, 2, 3. And the second shot is the freestyle. Okay. Or give a big thumb to our speaker today. She try very hard to make us understand the technical calculation, which I am very bad about that. Okay, so another shot. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you very much for your participation today. And for your information, this is gonna be the last training session. But however, I will follow up with your school if you need the technical, like clinical session with me to give you the consultancy regarding to improve your school meal program. All right, Miss Sari Kusuma, thank you very much for your contribution and your expertise sharing to our participants. Thank you so much. Would you like to say anything, the last word to our participants?
Yeah. Just keep trying because making best menu for the children is really about trials and errors.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
good luck.
True. Because one menu could be the most liked by one student, but another menu maybe they don't like it. So it's so hard to serve the needs of all of them, right? To make them everybody happy. But you need to observe which menu is the most popular for your student. But however, whatever menu that you decide for your student, you need to check the nutrition balance as well. Right. Okay, don't spoil them too much like giving them all the fried food every meals, but please keep in mind about the balance between the favorite and also the nutrition. Okay, thank you so much, Miss Sari Kusuma. And then for the next slide, I would like to show everyone the post-training evaluation form. Okay, so this is gonna be the last training session. Please ensure that you scan the QR code or click in the link that we send to you in the chat box, and please answer the question in the form, and then we will issue the certificate. All right, okay, I give time to you for 3 minutes to scan the QR code or even like click on the link. But however, all the training session, I will send you all the YouTube links so that you can share with your teachers or even the parents to see and review the training session that we already organized, and also you can share the training materials to your team as well. Okay, so thank you very much for your participation today, and also have a good day. Thank you very much, and bye bye. Bye everyone. Thank you for your active participation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank youค่ะ. Thank you very much ค่ะ. Okay, don't forget to do the post training evaluation. The link is here, sent in the chat box. Okay, everyone, we will close the meeting room within few minutes. So please click on in the chat box for the post training evaluation form. However, I will send the link to your email address. Okay, so thank you very much for your participation. So for whatever the question that you would have, please let us know. All right, you can send the message to my WhatsApp or even send to my email. And thank you very much for your participation in our training series. Thank you and bye everyone.